Good morning or good afternoon. Welcome to the Assurity Disability webinar. Whether you're morning or afternoon, welcome, and we're pleased that you could join us. Before I introduce who we will have on our presentation for the next 20 to 30 minutes, I thought I would share with you a little bit about our Leaders Conference trip. I think you are all able to see the slide of the Great Ritz-Carlton Resort on the island of Maui. And so for everyone on the phone, I would invite you to join as my wife Shelley and I look forward to hosting as many of you as possible. We just returned from our Leaders Conference trip in Australia over the weekend. We entertained and hosted about 150 different distributors from Assurity, and we had a great experience down under on Australia. So please join us in Maui. The qualifications are out available on AssureLink, and the production credits have to be applied by the end of December. So I'm going to go ahead and advance the slide to the next and talk a little bit about where we're going from here. You can see on the slide disability lessons from the Big Bang Theory. So we will be kicking off with that here momentarily. Real quickly, our speakers today, myself, I'm the head of sales for Assurity, Chief Sales Officer. My name is Todd Reimers. I've been with the company more than 25 years. Disability is my favorite product. And we're going to talk a little bit about why disability, why Assurity, and quite frankly, only 33% of Americans in the private sector have access to long-term or short-term disability at work. So with only 33% of the population and the workforce having access to employer-sponsored disability, the opportunity for individual disability is very, very bright. So again, my name is Todd Reimers. We're going to have also speaking to you in a few minutes, Bruce Scheiber, who's our Senior Director of Underwriting, who's very experienced in disability for many, many years. But our first speaker this morning or this afternoon, depending on where you're located, is Senior Director of Marketing, and that is Mr. Scott Zagorski. So Scott, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Todd. I appreciate it. It's amazing as the years blur through, for those of us who've been in the industry a while, that we're at another Disability Insurance Awareness Month, or on the eve of it, I guess, starting next month. As we have seen, for those of us in the industry, our friends at, the lifehappens.org, they rally us to these causes each year. And ultimately, it's, what we do with those opportunities, what we do at that time when it rolls around. And sometimes you can see stats that kind of get replayed. Currently, their campaign, I really do appreciate their campaign, and kind of ties into our webinar today. That 88% of employed Americans say they know a lot about their favorite TV show, but only 41% say they know anything about their disability insurance. And, we are one of those glamorous categories that is an avoidance category, right? Yeah, I think people would much rather see their favorite show on television than think about things like insurance. And as Todd mentioned, there is an underserved market here, and we'll go over some of those stats here in a bit. But disability insurance doesn't quite get the notoriety as, the health, the homes, the autos, and the lives of the world, but we still really feel it is important. And, so why should you care about this holiday month, and why should you care about going out and prospecting in a different way? Well, again, I mentioned I've been in insurance for about 20 years, and I've really seen this particular product and its impact. And here at Assurity, our mission is, we want to make sure that we can help people through difficult times. And some of the situations I've seen, just even personally and professionally on the disability front, those times are real. One of the studies that Life Happens ran also with this new campaign is, 1 in 4 Americans would feel a financial pinch immediately if they couldn't work because of an illness or an accident. And so, I think that need is real out there. It's not a theory. But speaking of theories, let's kind of go into our tie-in here on, the Big Bang Theory. Not sure how many fans of the show are out there. I know I am personally a fan of this show. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's a sitcom about some kind of geeky genius level scientists and their friends and kind of how they go through their lives and evolve in their relationships. The show, believe it or not, for those of you who watch, it's been around since 2007 now. In the past 10 years, this group is starting to go through all of the life event triggers that us folks in insurance and marketing truly love. They're getting out of college, they're getting married, they're having children. And as they have these different events happen to them, obviously their needs for coverages and what they want to cover become more and more important. And this underserved segment of scientists, even though Bruce is on a little bit later, they may do some experiments and stuff in the lab that may make our underwriters cringe a bit. But ultimately, there's a lot of folks out there besides just physicians and lawyers who are underserved on this product. And I know at Assurity, that's something that's really important to us. We sell a lot of 4As and 3As that aren't part of the medical field or, practicing law. And we think those people and their six-figure incomes are just as well served as their counterparts in other professions. So ultimately, this show, The Big Bang Theory, it's been on for, over a decade now. And how does it remain one of those top comedies? And, what can we learn from that as far as our approach to this month, our marketing, and your chances to go out and do some prospecting? So the correlations that we see here, we do throw some numbers together. The Big Bang Theory itself gets about 20 million viewers a week, which equals about 80 million viewers a month, or in the maybe bridge to nowhere correlation, but we like the numbers that kind of added up. We're over 84 million people right now, according to the Social Security Administration fact sheet that was published this year, that are underserved. They have no long-term disability insurance in the private workforce. So we know there's a market there. We know there are demographics all over that 84 million, right? We've got some low incomes, some higher incomes. Ultimately, you want to go after people that not only need it, but that can afford it as well. So, with that, there is power in those numbers. There's power in going out to prospect for people that have a need. For the Big Bang Theory, there's power for their advertisers and the 80 million viewers they have a month. And overall, sustaining that or sustaining a prospecting base for the people you want to sell insurance to is very important. So I want to kind of dovetail a bit off this, how can we help you sustain? What are these key message points that ultimately can be absorbed, by your clients, by your potential prospects? And one of the things that we all know, and we don't have to watch TV to know, but we know emotion sells. People do make decisions using emotion, and then they ultimately back it up, with a form of logic. Unless you're my child who just wants every video game that comes out, that may be just a pure emotional purchase. But for higher level things like insurance, avoidance categories, they're going to go through that roller coaster of emotion to logic to back to emotion on what they want to cover. And, the Big Bang Theory, to be successful over 10 years, they've had to use emotion. The numbers on the show, we talked about 20 million. We went and did some research. The Big Bang Theory averages their jokes average 4.3 jokes a minute on this show. And ultimately, that sustaining humor in a sitcom, even over 20 minutes, may not seem that hard, but it really is. That emotion of either happiness or love, which they bring in, those are the things that get people to stick to a show. And that emotion is something you need to look at when talking to your clients. Having a positive view versus a negative view on those emotions. Yeah, we've all heard the stat that 1 in 4 people that are 25 years old, are going to probably get disabled before they, reach retirement or age 67. Those things are real stats to bring up. But ultimately, I prefer selling the emotion of, what you have to protect. Looking at things from a more positive standpoint, that your loved ones and those things that you can have a sense of pride over the probability of getting hurt. I like turning those things, instead of the old TV show Fear Factor, which did, that had a good run. It was on the air for a while. But ultimately, just the fear tactics there can't be sustained. Success does come from making the need for income protection more emotional, more personal, and ultimately more positive in your clients' lives. The next part we want to go over with you in the next theory ends up just keeping things simple. When we talk about that first stat, that people just don't know much about disability insurance, that, we look at things like 1 in 3 working adults would be more likely to consider getting this protection if they knew more about it. Once we get into things like the jargon, our elimination periods and ONOX, those things ultimately are important, but it's our job, whether in marketing or sales, to decipher those things for our clients and prospects. And if you ever watch TV shows like The Big Bang Theory or Seinfeld or Friends, you can pretty much jump into any one of those episodes because they all are fairly, there's no complications of the plots, there's no twists and cliffhangers. You can jump in any time, and catch up with those folks. And we think that is a big element of the success of shows like that. And it can also be an element of success in how you go about your business when you're talking to consumers. They already tend to think our products are complex and confusing. So be sure to boil down that need in its simplest form to help them replace their monthly income if they can't work because of that illness or injury, and ultimately how important that asset is. We do feel that those talking points are still extremely relevant and help break it down to that next level. But again, avoid the jargon, try to simplify the discussion as much as you can, and avoiding those complex things ultimately is a great lesson for us all to remember. Last but not least, on these lessons, being relatable, and I've talked to a lot of people in the field. I know how you share those personal stories and anecdotes of your past clients. But right now, when we relate this over to the Big Bang Theory, these characters may be geniuses, they may be doing things in the science field, but they're all very relatable. Sheldon struggles with this connection with other people. Leonard has his fears, similar to the clients and prospects that you're going to have. So find those ways to tell proper stories, have those stories in your hip pocket, and after you get through those emotional states, in their own lives, showing them stories on something that they can identify with, those people that would be similar to them, hopefully will help you close those deals. But as far as other tools that can help you, at Assurity, we're really looking to gear up here for Disability Insurance Awareness Month. We have created a new online tool that is at diquoter.assurity.com that allows you to do simple fact finding and get a quote on any occupation that works on your phone. It's very quick. It allows you to do changes in riders. It's not a full illustration of a tool or what you would consider as far as illustration software, but it is one of the few tools that allow you to do a needs analysis and get a quote off the needs analysis itself. At the end of doing a quote, you are allowed to shoot that quote in an email to your prospect as well as yourself, so you have that on record. So again, that's diquoter.assurity.com. We really look forward to having a lot of people go out to this new tool. We have had some of our brokers help us along with the testing. Some of them are using it in their own offices today and some of the key relationships we have. But we wanted something that was just very simple to use, something you could have that fact finding and then ultimately that leave behind where your consumer or your prospect is asking you for more help. So again, diquoter.assurity.com. Next off in the month, we are going to have new brochures for our products. You can talk to your regionals out there. We'll be sending you links, starting May 1st that will have a new product for kind of a new brochure for our flagship product, our Century Plus, that will have its own fact finder tools, that will have new insights. We are trying to put, again, more of a positive spin on these situations, and hopefully this will help complement you in your sales process. The next piece that we're going to have available for you is an underserved market that we truly believe in here at Assurity. It's a small business owner's brochure and a new piece. We believe that those small business owners out there, they kind of have that dual purpose, right? They have to protect their own income and ultimately the income from their business. Having fact finders that ask the right questions to allow you to get to know those small businesses, from a client base, even beyond product, are important. And we've established a methodology here for you to go through with your clients and prospects. And so look for those out there on AssureLink and our websites to come, but they'll all be available to you starting on May 1st. We want to keep those conversations very positive, so we do have new flyers and 2 one-pagers on conversation starters and overcoming objections. What we have seen in my career of over 20 years in helping to market the disability product, the people who sell disability can be split kind of down the middle in my view. There are people that are tried and true disability sellers. About half of our sales end up coming in from your traditional shops out there. And we really appreciate that business. And then there's the folks that a disability insurance sale falls in their lap. They may have the 1 or 2 sales. They may not be very familiar with the overall process. So we want to have these things that allow them to overcome those objections in order to have the right answers and ultimately then get help from us, either through our underwriters or our new business staff, but we want to arm them with those things right off the bat, hopefully to help in your success. Lastly, as part of Disability Insurance Awareness Month, we're going to be presenting 5 new sales ideas on some of those underserved markets, how to find them, what the approach should be, and ultimately what we would recommend to sell to them. So from a marketing perspective, we want you to be able to use these things, to be able to incorporate them in your prospecting plans. And for some of you who are training others on this product, hopefully these will give you some scenarios in order to highlight how disability insurance can work for all different types of occupations. Last but not least, the folks at Life Happens, there's a huge market of millennials that are coming up, just like those folks on The Big Bang Theory that are all in that particular age bracket. And 95% of these people who are working say that, they know a lot about their favorite TV show, but again, even a lower amount of these folks know anything about disability insurance. And so right now is our jobs in the industry to educate all of these audiences on the need from the product. Somebody who I could never educate because of all of their experience is a person I'm proud to introduce to you as Bruce. Bruce Schreiber is our Director of Underwriting. He has been in this business for a long time, and I'm proud to have him present his tips and ways to get your Disability Insurance Awareness Month started correctly.
Thanks, Scott. Great job setting the table for a very exciting discussion about underwriting and disability. I really do like the disability side of the business. We at Assurity underwrite all the major lines of individual products, but DI is our bread and butter, and our underwriters have a lot of experience in that arena. Our team of underwriters is a little bit different in that they are specifically trained in individual disability, and they're trained and encouraged to be creative with their decision making. We want them to offer the best combination of benefits and cost in every case. We're looking for the best combination for that because we want to make an offer that's acceptable to your client. We want to help you place the policy, and we pride ourselves in being also, to go along with that, we pride ourselves in being available to talk through complex cases and special situations that come up, because in disability especially, there's not a cookie cutter solution. Everybody's an individual, is different. Their situations are different, how they get their income, their medical, it's all very unique, and we try to take an individual approach on every case. And we do view that direct communication between the sales force and our underwriting team as the best way to encourage quality business, which increases the likelihood of getting policies placed. Now, we know that declines and incomplete cases don't pay the bills for anybody, and so we want to help the producer get policies activated and paid. That's our number one priority. We have also developed our staff and trained them to be skilled in our target market. We're unique in that we offer coverage to the middle income market, as both Todd and Scott had mentioned. We're in a place where many carriers don't focus. And so in addition to that, our personal interviews that we do and our tele-apps are all conducted by in-house Assurity employees. In the past, we tried to use outside vendors for this, and we quickly found out that those vendors just do not understand our disability market. Therefore, we made a decision about 7 years ago to hire and train our own interview specialists. This has worked really well. The underwriters work closely with the interviewers, and the interviewers are trained in underwriting basics, and this has helped them to reduce the time on the phone with your client and make it be as to the point as possible. We get a lot of valuable information from the interviews, and that has also allowed us to reduce the number of extra requirements like APSs and exams, and also that reduces the in-house turnaround time for you guys. And so the next slide, it kind of highlights some underwriting enhancements that we've just recently announced. We made some improvements to our guidelines and made us even more competitive in our market. We offer an income enhancement of 20% to business owners, because we know that, quite frankly, they write off expenses and use depreciation to reduce their taxable income. And rather than try to figure out a specific number, we just determine the insurable income by adding 20% of their net income after expenses. This increases the insured's monthly benefit by an amount as much as $1,500 over what their net income would qualify them for, and that's our business owner enhancements. That we do really like working with small business owners, so we try to help them out. The next thing listed on the slide is government employee guidelines. Government employees are an important part of our market as well, and we recently adjusted our issue and participation limits for them to allow higher income earners to qualify for more benefit than through our old guidelines. We know that some government workers make pretty significant salaries, and we just weren't able to cover them before, but now we can cover them with our new IMP limits. And also, as part of the government guideline changes, we amended our limitations by assuming that the federal employees get 40% of their income in disability benefit from their employer, and states get 60% of income, but we cap that at $10,000 a month. So we coordinate around those employer-sponsored plans to offer additional coverage. And there are special circumstances where the government employee isn't actually covered by federal or state pension benefits, and we're glad to review those benefits booklets to determine eligibility for higher benefits. Now, as I said before, we love small business owners here at Assurity. That's really our bread and butter and has been for years. As I mentioned before, we offer the owner an income enhancement to allow them to get higher benefits than their net income would allow. Again, 20% up to $1,500 a month, which is fairly significant, keeps us competitive. We also give them the opportunity for a 1 occupation class upgrade if they've been in business for more than 2 years and owned at least 10% of their business that they work in. There are some restricted occupations, such as doctors and dental hygienists, where we aren't able to boost the occupation class, and we do have that noted in our underwriting guidelines, which are online. Also, if we get 3 policies from one business, we offer a 15% premium discount on our Century Plus product. Now, these policies can be on 1 or more people that are employed by the company, and they can be either list bill paid or EFT from the insured's own checking account, whichever works better. And we've seen this discount applied in a variety of business types. And one that we've seen quite a bit of activity with this is real estate agencies, because we will include them as working for the same employer, even though they might be 1099 employees and not W-2. Now, we offer a policy to business owners, in addition, that will cover the mortgage or rent, the utilities, insurance premiums, and other overhead expenses when a business owner becomes sick or hurt and can't work. I call it a business continuation plan, but we formally call it business overhead expense. It's an inexpensive policy that can help a small business stay afloat during the owner's disability. The business owner overhead expense policy can have up to a 2-year benefit period and can be added to the multi-life discount plan as well. Very useful, and we've seen a lot of activity there on that recently. Also, I want to mention that our underwriters, when they underwrite a Century Plus for a small business owner, will evaluate it for a BOE or business overhead offer and let you know at the time of issue that they qualify for that additional policy, in case you didn't think of it. And also, to help you out, the underwriting and marketing departments have gotten together and developed a disability application submission checklist. That's very helpful to assist producers who don't have a lot of experience with disability, just to make sure that you cover all the basics, all the bases that an underwriter would want to know about. It covers what's needed with regards to income documentation for employees and business owners, and the health history is also included on the checklist. Many producers have found this type of checklist very helpful in understanding what will be required to get a disability application successfully through underwriting and to policy issue. The checklist also gives information about when an exam will be required and how to set them up with your client. The final thing I want to mention before I turn it over to Todd is we, for the Disability Awareness Month, have developed and are introducing a series of 1-minute videos to showcase the features of our products and a few case studies to give you ideas of where to place Century Plus in your business. Look for that on the website during Disability Awareness Month. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Todd Reimers.
Great. Thank you, Bruce. As we start to wind down here on our webinar today, I thought I would mention a few things about why Assurity for Disability. As Bruce mentioned, this is what we're very well known for. And, you know, as the brochure that you can see on the screen to the right there points out, being easy in the disability space is a pretty tall order. But one of the things that we're constantly doing, whether it be sales side, the underwriting side, et cetera, is to make us an easy place to do business with. And as Bruce pointed out with item number 2 on the screen, that one-on-one access to underwriters. Underwriters have a tremendous amount of expertise that we want our distributor customers to be able to have access to learn. And then when you have the ability to learn, you have obviously the ability to explain it to your own producers or to your own prospects as we all sell. Third is just a tremendous amount of technology. We're constantly working to enhance our technology, and Scott talked about diquoter.assurity.com. I would encourage all of you to visit that site. Fourth, a full disability portfolio, and I'll make just a quick comment, but mention all 4. We have a simplified disability product, a fully underwritten, our Century Plus individual disability product, business overhead expense, as Bruce talked about in the business market. And then where we're really getting a lot of lift right now is in the impaired risk space. We don't have a lot of competition in the impaired risk space. This is truly I'll call it a Cadillac or expensive car model, if you'll afford me the analogy. It's an excellent impaired risk disability product. Where we probably spend most of our time is the individual disability product. We placed probably, we had about 2,000 to 3,000 producers sell an Assurity policy in 2017, and I'm pleased to report that our production this year is up double digits through the first 3 months over last year. Number 5, again, on the impaired risk product, you know, for previously declined clients, again, I would encourage you to take a look at this product. We repriced it, so it is more competitive than perhaps when you last looked at it. Disability market builder, you know, this is what we're known for. We got into the business in 1890. And the very first policies that we issued were accidental disability insurance in the ag space back 125 plus years ago. So this is really where we, as it was talked about earlier, our bread and butter, and we continue to want to excel and grow and be innovative in this space. Bruce also talked about the big advantages to the small business owner. I won't repeat the discounts that he specifically spoke about, but for those of you that don't know, a big percentage of our business is skilled trades and self-employed and small employer units. Great services in our DNA. Our DNA and our culture here is one that, if you haven't experienced, is truly a unique culture. And I'll talk a little bit more about that just here in just a second. And I promise you, we will be there for your clients when they go through difficult times. Disability is a product where there's tremendous opportunity and just great growth for the future. The industry's got a relatively flat growth rate, 3% last year, industry growth rates, but Assurity's got significant growth rates, and like I said, the double-digit growth rates this year. So as we start to wind it down, we want to also talk a little bit. I talked about us being in the business for 125 years. Our great place, Gallup Great Places to Work. We have some of the highest associate engagement scores, and I talked about our culture. Our CEO, Tom Henning, really uses the balanced scorecard, which is a three-dimensional model of measuring outcomes, whether it be activity-related, service standards, or financials. It's a three-dimensional model that's really helped our associates understand their fit in our organization. And we have some of the highest scores of associate engagements worldwide of any of their clients. Next, we're very much into sustainability. We're a LEED certified gold building, which really just means that we care about the environment and we care about the future of where our world is headed in reference to sustainability, whether that be fresh water, etc. We do a lot with regard to that. We store rainwater under our building as an example. So our associates really appreciate the opportunity to work for us. The Certified B Corp, this is really about doing great things for the world. It's not about just making money. It's about doing the right things by the globe that we live on and by other people. We were one of the first, I think the first, to be an insurance company with a certified B Corporation. I would encourage you to Google it and look at the video because it's really about doing the right thing by the community that we live in and the right thing globally. How we're different, I think we're running out of time, but I quickly mentioned about the excellent commissions, simplicity and ease of use. We'll make it easy. Disability can be complex, but we'll make it easy. Just ask your sales staff to help, and they will certainly work with underwriting with you directly to make it happen. We're a mutual organization, something we're very, very proud of. Being mutual means we don't answer to Wall Street. We answer to our distributor customers and our policyholders that own this company. So being a mutual company, it really takes us to be the opportunity to take the long-term view. As you know, the number of disability carriers has shrunk dramatically. I think it was only about 20 years ago, there was 45 or 50 disability carriers, and now we're down to about a dozen. But we're proud of our heritage and profitable in this space, and we'll continue to serve you well with that personalized service. And truly a competitive advantage in the disability space. That is an area where we are proud to say that we're in the middle income. We work with skilled labor. Send your clients your medical professionals to us, but doctors is not a place that we normally get. We do write doctors, but our sweet spot is that middle incomes, 6 figures, as I think Scott mentioned. But we also do a lot under that scenario because there's a lot of people that live on paycheck to paycheck that need disability insurance. So with that, we will be emailing out this webinar to everyone that signed up for it today. Again, this is recorded. We appreciate your time, and again, I'll encourage you to go to DIQuote or Assurity.com. And with that, thank you very much. We appreciate your participation.